So I jinxed myself and I sound like shit because I'm ill. I think I literally said
Okay.
last week, like I haven't been sick in a while.
Oh, no, you did say last week that you were sick.
What? I have syphilis. Oh, I got it. Ha 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 ha. Gamage is funny.
I'm pretty funny.
He's a
I got
funny
jokes.
guy. That Gomage. Never been funnier. I have syphilis. Yeah. That's actually pretty good. I like that combo.
Hey, I have something in here in my preamble that's a question that I had for you.
Okay.
And it says lesbian deathbed, and I don't know what that means.
Okay. Lesbian bed death is something that I learned about a couple of years ago. Because someone said it to me and I was like, what the fuck is that? And I feel like it is similar to your micro penis thing where, okay, so let's go back.
Oh, hold on. My micro penis thing.
Let me explain. Long ago, when Gamage and I worked at Staples, the concept of a micro penis came up and Gamage was like, what are you talking about? What is that? And someone had to explain
I know what
to him,
micropenis
hold
is.
on. There was a period of
No, I
time
knew.
where I think at the time you knew, but you were like, there was a point in time when somebody told you about what a micro penis was and you were like, what is that? And then they explained it and you were like, that's a real thing? At some point in your life.
No, I know what a micropenis is for a good chunk of my life. I might have been playing dumb. Who was I speaking to? Do you remember?
I think you were telling a story about when you were younger.
Oh, when
and
I was
you
okay.
didn't
I was
know
talking.
that a micro penis was a real thing.
Okay, this makes more sense now.
No. It wasn't like when we were at Staples. Like I think we were just like at work and you were telling me this story. And the concept of micro penises came up again and you were like, once upon a time, I was like, the fuck is that?
Okay.
But I had a similar experience of once upon a time, somebody said lesbian bed death to me and I was like, what the fuck is that? And it was explained to me that lesbian bed death is this concept of when two lesbians get together into a long-term couple, they U-haul it real quick at first, but then the sex tends to die out. And so they end up just being like two girlies who live at home together and not actually having sex that often. So it is called bed death because they're not fucking.
Oh, okay. It's kind of self-explanatory, but I had a question. I don't know if you brought it up last episode or if it was through text.
I said it
but
last episode.
Yeah, I don't remember, but I just remember I just have a little note here in a question mark because I'm like, I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't remember why
is.
I typed it.
Yeah.
I also typed down what?
Fact checker said Chris and I are just two girlies that live at home together.
But I also talked to you about last week. We brought up the Gaelic thing and. We didn't clarify what that was, but it was because I was talking about an Irish hip hop band called Kneecap, and I'm like, they released a new album, and I'm listening to it right now, and I can only make out 1 out of 12 words because they were speaking Gaelic. Of course they were,
yeah.
But I didn't have the lyrics up because I was at work. But you were like, I just started the album. I do believe, at least occasionally, that they're speaking Gaelic, and I'm like, yeah, you seem like a real expert on Gaelic. which is a funny lesbian cunnilingus joke.
Mm-hmm.
But that was
lesbians.
But that was the story behind that. But we did bring it up last week and then just kind of dropped it. So I feel like I needed to give some context to it.
I'm glad you did. The people had questions.
They did. They were hounding us on the Twitter that we have. They were like, "Hey, what is this Gaelic thing? Do you hate the Gaelics?" And
we tweet so
it turns
hard
out I do.
That we actually don't even advertise it because there's just too much going on. I don't need more of you there.
Yeah. But I mean that's kind of it for my preamble was to talk about those things and ask about lesbian deathbed. Lesbian bed death. I wrote down your lesbian deathbed, which is is that the sequel to Deathbed, the bed that kills people?
Yes, this one's gay. We wanted representation.
It's about time.
Lesbian Deathbed is a metal band? A gay metal band?
A gay metal band.
That'd be fantastic. Sure. Did you hear about the college that used an AI reader for their graduation? That happened, I think, like yesterday in the news.
I know that there was like a speaker for like an alumni speaker for a graduating class who was like promoting AI and everybody's like, boo. But I didn't hear about an AI speaking.
Oh my God. So this brings me joy because most of the time you bring me interesting news, and today I get to return the favor. These dumb fucks. So some college president or whoever handles putting together graduation for a college decided that they were going to use an AI reader to read all of the names on a list. Have you ever asked AI to count to like 100?
No,
What
I
it
don't
does-
really fuck with AI.
So apparently, I learned this from the internet, and this just happens to very well coincide with this. Apparently, if you ask an AI to count from 1 to 100, it'll go like 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I keep counting until 100. And you're like, no, count every number. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I keep counting until 100. And you're like, no, every single number. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I keep going until 100. And it just keeps skipping because it doesn't want to do the fucking mundane task all the way to 100. And so apparently it did a similar concept with this list where it read some of the names, skipped massive chunks, and then read some of the names. So
I love that AI is taking our jobs and then it's also taking our fucking lazy habits as well about
Yeah.
it. Like 1, 2, and then you know how to
yeah,
get to the
you know the
numbers.
numbers in between. I don't.
I'm
need
not
to
going to
tell
sit
you
here
what
and do
those
this
are.
for you, Greg.
I just love that AI. They were like, I don't understand the point in replacing the person that reads the names because that person usually already works at the school or they're like a volunteer. Like, you're not spending extra money on this experience. And they're usually already in attendance at the graduation because they have to shake people's hands. So instead, this school is like, we're going to have an AI do it. And then it skipped a bunch of people's names. So while they're walking across the stage, their name isn't being announced. And then at the end, everybody was like, why a bunch of people like didn't go up because their name wasn't called. And then the president went
Surprise,
up.
you didn't graduate. You're suspended. Ha ha ha.
The president goes up and they're like, so what happened? And she has this giant smile on her face, and it's clearly the smile of somebody that's like, I know I'm about to get reamed and so hard for this.
Here's the thing.
She's like, so we were testing out an AI, and that's on us, that's a learning experience. And the entire audience just gives the most massive, like, boo. And then somebody else came up, like, right after she tries to explain it and goes, well, my part of this, the, like, introductions doesn't have AI, so we should be good to go from here. And then they were like, they kept telling people they weren't going to reread the names that were missed. And they're like, well, you can get photos. So like, it's not a big deal. Like, you still graduated, but like, we're not going to reread them and have you rewalk. And then somebody
piece
told
of
them
paper and the
that
disrespect with it.
Yeah. So, and then somebody told them that was stupid. So they coincidentally got a person to go read the names and just redid the whole thing.
Jesus. Yeah, Fact Check is right. They worked hard to get that name called, and like that's the whole reason why people go to graduation, to see their family members get called and get a handshake in and a certificate. Overrated in my opinion, but like people paid and worked for that. It's some bullshit.
Well, and oftentimes people pay for like the fucking clothes to graduate too. Like, it's not just like, yes, I have worked all this time to get this piece of paper, but also now I have to order robes and a cap and shit, and I have had to invite family that is coming in from out of town to come to this thing.
Of course, I need to get my nails done, and I need my hair all dolled up. Like, this is an event.
There's all these things, yeah.
It's stupid. Like,
it's so fucking dumb.
The dumbest people are buying it. Like, you know what? It's funny is that like the only people that are selling the whole AI thing are like the AI companies, and the only people buying it are idiots who are like, yeah. They're talked into it, and they're like, yeah, so they bought this thing and then tried to do this, and then it fucking blew up in your face. Good fucking job. Too bad you weren't warned about it. I'm getting off my soapbox now.
Every day sorry, I have one more thing to say. Every day that I hear more stories about the way in which we are using AI, because don't get me wrong, like there are good uses of AI. There's just a lot of really, really silly bad ones now that we've made it public. every day I'm like, I kind of get how we got to the Wall-E version of the future, and it's rapidly approaching.
Yeah, I mean, because every time AI comes up, a lot of people are like, "Oh no, hold on, AI does a lot for like our jobs, and it like helps compile things and makes things easier." And it's just like nobody's denying that. What we're denying is generative AI shouldn't exist. We shouldn't have things making fucking videos of Will Smith eating spaghetti. You're not defending that, right? Like we're not mad at you for using a tool to help render your shit on Photoshop. We don't care about that. That's not why we're upset. I'm getting off my soapbox again.
Yes, Gamage, I'm extending you a hand to help you down. Moving on.
Thank you. Welcome to We Have That Podcast at Home, the only podcast sitting on a whole episode series of the Warrior Cats breakdowns in case of an emergency. Today is not an emergency, and I'm on brand Gamage.
And I'm on brand Rachel, and each week we play Russian roulette with our success and spin a wheel to find out the genre of the next week's podcast. Last week our spin landed on pop culture, so we're doing a movie that Gamage has been very excited about, and I get it now, because I've watched it.
Oh, well that's good. Yeah, we watched a movie. We watched Dust Bunny. It came out December.
I need you to know I got
so I'm counting
minutes.
this as a 2026 movie, first of all.
I'm okay with that, because I'd like it to be on my list. I need you to know 5 minutes into this movie, maybe 10, I immediately texted somebody and was like, you need to watch this if you haven't already. So I get it.
It's good. I don't know where you were in December. Same goes for me. I mean, it came out a weird time. All right, so look, first of all, Dust Bunny is hokey and it's cheesy and I love it. But Dust Bunny is an American fantasy action film written, produced, and directed by Brian Fuller, my favorite Fuller, and I stand by that. Starring Mads Mikkelsen and Sophie Sloane about an 8-year-old girl hiring a hitman to kill the monster under her bed. Now, I'm sure Rachel is too, but I'm a big fan of Brian Fuller. He did a bunch of Star Trek stuff, which I'm not into, whatever. But he's the man behind Dead Like Me, Pushing Daisies, Hannibal, American Gods. That one reimagining of The Munsters that had Eddie Izzard in it that I think I was the only person that liked it. But Brian Fuller has an aesthetic that like scratches my brain in just the right way. And if you've seen any of these shows, then you know what I'm talking about. Like he has a very distinctive thing where it's kind of like Wes Anderson, but not pointless and vapid. I stand by that.
And was this the movie that you said was Pushing Daisies meets like Tim Burton? Or was that something else?
I said Pushing Daisies was like Tim Burton, but like on antidepressants.
Okay.
But no, I saw somebody describe this movie as Leon the Professional made by Guillermo del Toro, and I absolutely agree. It's very, very much has that kind of vibe to it. You seem confused. Leon the Professional?
I actually don't know what that is.
You don't know what Leon the Professional is?
No, not even a little bit. I have
John
seen
Reno,
multiple
Natalie
references
Portman. It's
in relation to this movie, but no.
It's a movie that's worth a watch. Go watch it and then watch it again on edibles, and like you'll probably get the same thing as Dust Bunny.
Okay, sounds good.
So this is Brian Fuller's first movie, and while I adore the absolute shit out of it, it didn't do very well.
I can understand why, but I too also really enjoyed it.
It had a budget of $12 million, and it grossed just a little over $1 million.
That's I actually that might be the most insane return on investment of all the movies that we've watched.
It's pretty steep difference. I think being released in December didn't help it. Like I feel like this movie would have fucking rocked at the end of summer or Halloween, but December kind of weird. Like everybody's like, we want to go see the Jack Black Satan Santa movie.
Yeah, well,
Maybe. I actually don't know what people are watching.
issues with movies that release in December is either you have the people that want to watch a movie on Christmas or on New Year's that want to go see a film, and Dust Bunny's probably not your first pick, or they're watching holiday themed stuff, in which case Dust Bunny is certainly not your first pick. I do agree with you that if they had released this around like October, when people are looking for like weird haunting sort of vibe movies, it probably would have slapped.
Now, yeah, this movie is rated R, but I think it's watchable by children. So you should be showing it to your kids.
It's really rated R?
This is a kid. Yeah, this is a kid's movie. I found out later that like Brian Fuller was like, I can't believe they made it rated R. Make your kids watch it. It's like, I agree.
Yeah, it's like at worst a PG-13.
Yeah, I agree.
And even that's like, they don't really show that much of anything.
I mean, maybe because it's like about assassins, and there's a point where there's a gun pointed at a child, like maybe, but like
I
outside of that,
there's PG-13 because they talk about like chopping up a body at one point, and that's as far into the PG-13 realm. Because I'm like, even cursing, I don't really think there's much of that in there, if any.
No,
and it's honestly more like it almost has like a. Not quite Dumb and Dumber, because like it's not written stupid, but like it has that sort of slapsticky kind of goofy humor to it.
Yeah. It's very physical comedy. But reviews I found for this movie are mixed in like a 60, 70-ish range. I don't care. I still love it. Most like actual critics are like, no, this is a very charming movie. I mean, like, I don't care. I still love it.
I don't give a shit about the public's opinion. This is about our opinion.
Yeah. Brian Fuller, BFF, and Danish Knight Mads Mikkelsen co-stars as the hitman who never gets named except for Resident 5B, and Sophie Sloane stars as the 8-year-old Aurora. Fun fact, this is Sophie Sloane's first major film debut. She did like some shows before this, and she almost wasn't cast because the movie was set in New York, and she has a crazy thick Scottish accent.
Does she really?
Yeah.
You would have never known.
Yeah, once I told Brittany that, like, she's like, I could kind of hear some bits of it like coming through, but it's hard to tell. But she actually taught herself how to speak like with an American accent by binging TikToks, and got picked up at her second audition, which is really cool.
Wild. I love like when you get like, well, I don't talk to actors and actresses, but like when you watch their interviews and they just do the wildest shit to get cast for things. They're like, yeah, I just fucking, that's, to be fair, I guess that's many people. I had a student in Korea where she was significantly more fluent than pretty much everybody else in her class. And so I was asking her how she learned English. And she's like, teacher, I play a lot of Fortnite. I was like, what? And she goes, and I needed to learn how to talk shit. And then she stared at me with wide eyes. She was like, oh my God, I just said a bad word. And I was just laughing. I was like, it's fine. You're good. I was like, you used it correctly. I'm not upset.
If you say it out of context, that's a whipping.
Yeah, but if you use shit wrong, then I'll be on you. But you used it correctly and all is well in the world. Go on.
Also worth naming from this movie is Sigourney Weaver, Sheila Atim, David Dastmalchian, and Rebecca Henderson. All fantastic actors and actresses, and it's got a weighty cast to it. So like,
it is always wild to me when you have movies that have like an absolutely star-studded cast and they never really get any attention. And I get that frequently the reason is because they're not deemed very good. But it is always just interesting to me when they don't really get a whole lot of hype, even though there's so many people that are ridiculously famous in it. Like, I think I remember seeing Planet 51 with my mom, and we were watching I believe this is the day and age when there was oh my God, what is it called when they scroll through people's names in the title screen before the movie starts?
Intro
credits, yeah. Pre-credits, intro credits, whatever you want to call it.
Sure.
But anyway, so we're watching this and we're like, what the fuck? Like, it has this person and this person and this person and this person. And then nobody was talking about that movie. And I looked it up today and it was rated like crazy low ratings. So I'm like, okay, like I get why you didn't get famous, but just weird that nobody was talking about it. And all these like 60 fucking highly famous actors at the time are not, like, no one's, all right, cool. No one's going to talk about that. That's fine.
When was this? I don't actually recognize the movie you're talking about, but when was this?
Planet 51. I don't know. It's probably like 2008, 2009. If I had to guess, that, somewhere around there.
I know that the times have drastically changed. So, like, before, I feel like casting would have been a good portion of the marketing behind it, where it's just like, well, it's got a household name in it. Tom Hanks is in it. You like Tom Hanks. Like, that was a big thing. And then the other thing is, like, you know, TV advertising and billboards and whatnot. But, like, we're in a different world now where, like, nobody's watching TV. So, like, you got to put out ads on, like, Hulu or the internet if you're going to places with that. And even with ad blocker, it makes it even harder. So marketing is, like, a whole other sort of beast to, like, tackle when it comes to getting promotion for your movie. And I feel like the cast and director should have been good enough to kind of, like, get this thing. Plus, I remember reading about this, like, a couple years ago when, like, the idea was being pitched of, like, this movie about a hitman going after the monster to the bed. And I was like, well, that sounds like a lot of fun. But after that, I didn't hear anything about it until the movie just came out. And even then, like, we were busy with other things. And, like, I didn't see the movie until, like, it popped up on HBO. And I was like, oh, yes, I remember something about this movie. And then just decided to watch it. But who knows how long it would have sat on my list if I didn't just decide to watch it right then and there. Marketing is a big part of, like, promoting not just your movie, but, like, books, music, all of that. Like, it's such a huge thing. Like, there's a lot of musical artists that we talk about, and I feel like marketing is probably the biggest hindrance to why they aren't as big as they are.
Yeah, and I mean, it makes sense if you don't have, like, a crazy blowout budget for a film, or if you spend all of your budget on getting crazy fucking names, hoping that that is the marketing that's going to do it for you. Like, it makes sense. It is just generally surprising to me, because I'm like, each of these actors individually probably has, like, a decent fan base that is interested in what they're doing. Yeah. But I know that, like, I'm aware that that is not necessarily still enough people to carry it to the point of all of us knowing about it.
Yeah, like, honestly, like, if I see David Dastmalchian's name on anything, I'll be like, I'll watch it. I have yet to see something bad that he's in so far. It's all been fantastic. Late Night with the Devil is probably my favorite role of his.
I actually don't think I've ever seen that.
God, it's so good. It's probably my favorite modern horror movie that isn't, like, a B movie like Death of a Unicorn or maybe this one. It came out 2024, like, holiday-ish season, but it's about, like, a talk show thing, and it's kind of like lost footage kind of sort of thing. But, like,
oh, I know exactly what you're talking about. It's like, I Googled it real quick. Yeah, I really wanted to watch that when it came out, and I'm surprised that I haven't actually seen it because it looks phenomenal.
Well, because, like, we're in such a saturated era now where it's like, God, I have so many things, books, movies, and shows and shit that, like, will come out and I'll be like, yeah, and then I'll like add it to my list and I'm like, I'm gonna get around to it, and then, like, it may never happen. Like, I only recently, like, started, like, watching Resident Alien. That was on my list for fucking years, Rachel. You have no idea. Like, yeah, I think you messaged me about it last year. I'm like, it's been on my list for a year. Like, it's been a while.
And it will continue to stay there, goddammit. I actually had to explain.
We started watching it.
I had to explain this concept to somebody recently that they were asking if I wanted to go to Barnes & Noble, and I was like, yeah, like, I could take it or leave it. They were like, don't you enjoy reading? And I was like, yes. My issue, though, is every time, I don't get this as much, but I used to get such anxiety walking into bookstores because I would look at all these books knowing that I want to read not necessarily everything on the shelves, but ingest so much fucking information, whether it is fictional or nonfiction, and knowing that I will never have enough time on this earth to do so. Even if I just, like, narrowed it down to all of, like, the best works in the world, I will never have enough time to do so because there's always new ones coming out and there's always new things to read. And there's so many books.
And what's even worse is that for, you know, books especially, and also movies and shows, comic books, manga, anime, all of that, is that now I have like decision paralysis where I'm like, well, now I only have such limited time. I need to make sure that what I'm consuming is worth it. Like, so now I'm like stuck spending too much time scrolling through like Netflix or Hulu or HBO going like, well, not that. I don't think I'll enjoy this right now. I'm not in the mood for this. Like, I'm trying to find that golden thing that's going to brighten my life that I'm not going to waste my time on.
I actually think that's so funny because I think I've come to the opposite conclusion. I used to have analysis paralysis for books for, the similar reason of just being like stressed out about what am I reading? And then I hit a point where I was like, no, I'm just going to read. And I just started going in order on things. And I have like this crazy backlog of books that I own and have been recommended to me. And I just started going in order of just when I made that decision to start reading and just picked up the things that I was interested in at the time and was like, yeah, I'm just going to start these and I'm going to finish them and it doesn't matter and I'll move on to the next thing. And I don't really worry about the order of shit anymore. And I just burn through things. And I'm like, I don't care. I'll get to what I get to and that's it.
That's so cool. I wish I had that, but like I have several books that I'm like I read so many of in the series, and then like I got to like one, or I maybe didn't even finish the first one. I'm like, this is boring, and I kind of don't like it, and I'd rather read this other book instead, and I'll just drop it. And I'm like that with a lot of TV shows as well. There's a lot of TV shows I just didn't finish, or I'm like, meh, I don't really care. Movies at least kind of demand like a time. Like with a TV show, there's like a finishing point. Like you'll hit the credits and you're like, all right, guess I'll come back tomorrow or something. But like a movie is like, here's a chunk that you need to watch right now, and that's kind of it. So I kind of appreciate I'm able to like get through a movie. But for like a lot of TV shows, they go unwatched. So many unwatched. There's so many movies out this year that I'm like, of the 2026 movies, I watched none of them, I don't think. But because just like they're not anywhere and I'm not willing to pay for it.
Yeah, I think the only reason that I've started watching more movies is because I got that Regal Pass thing. So I'm watching
it's
like
so
at
cool.
least
I'd be doing that.
1 or 2 movies a month. There are quite a few that when they come out on streaming, I would love to know how you feel about them. Like somebody referenced They Will Kill You in Vibe with Dust Bunny. And so I am looking forward to when you watch that one, what you think of it. Because I think it's kind of the same sort of goofy, campy style. And it's kind of fun.
Now, I know that people at home are being like, well, you're half an hour in, you haven't even started. That's okay. There's actually not a whole lot I really wanted to talk about regarding this movie. I mean, I love the movie, but like, it's not, there's not a lot of thought-provoking or like discussion to be had about the movie. It's just like, you see that movie? I liked it. It's got good camera angles and good shots.
Yeah,
good
it's got good camera angles, good shots, good design. Interesting costume design.
The set design and costume design is fucking top tier. Wes Anderson is like molding, I'm sure.
That's some shit that could be like deep divin upon, but that's for other people.
Yeah, like
that is not
kind
this
of thing.
Podcast.
I mean, the themes here are very surface level. I mean, this movie was originally supposed to be like an episode for like an anthology series that Steven Spielberg is doing, like I forget what it was called, but like some like fantasy adventure series where like each episode's like a different story by a different director. And this one was like about, what if a girl made a wish to like an imaginary monster thing and it just ends up eating people? Like how would that be? And that's what the original concept of this movie was. And then it just evolved into its own thing. And he's just like, it got so big that he was just, I think I'd rather just make a movie and call up my buddy Mads Mikkelsen
call it a day.
And get him up.
Let it roll, let it ride. Well, Gamage, do you want to give us the breakdown, the synopsis?
Yeah. I'm gonna condense this down to like a tight, 3, but it's okay if I go over because
I believe in you.
Yeah. All right, so 8-year-old Aurora lives in New York City with her parents. She is terrorized nightly by the belief of a monster living under her bed and constantly warns her parents not to step on the floors, as that's how the monster gets you. She sleeps on the fire escape outside her window and wishes on a shooting star and or firefly for a solution, and that's when she begins to notice the neighbor in Unit 5B and follows him into Chinatown, where he fights and kills an armed gang. But her vibrant imagination and the fact that said gang was inside a dragon dance puppet makes her believe that he's fighting an actual dragon. One night after Aurora yet again warns her parents about walking on the floors, she listens as her parents are viciously attacked and vanish. Aurora goes to hire resident 5B, who, after assessing the apartment, concludes that her parents were likely murdered by assassins looking for him. He goes to his handler, Laverne, who says that he should kill the child, but he's like, no. So she sends 2 assassins to take care of her. 5B kills one while the other one just disappears. Aurora insisting that they were eaten by the monster under her bed. 5B learns from an FBI agent posing as Aurora's child protection agent that her parents were actually a third set of foster parents who have all disappeared, as well as her birth parents. 5B and the FBI agent join forces after a whole army of assassins storm the apartment. There's a back and forth of gunfire until the actual monster shows up and begins eating people touching the floor. The fight ends with 5B and Aurora being the last in the apartment and are trying to escape when the Dust Bunny lunges at 5B, only to be stopped by Aurora. 5B realizes that the Dust Bunny won't harm Aurora and that he belongs to her, and they leave the city together as a big happy family, kind of, maybe.
Perhaps. Remains to be seen.
Rachel, did you watch this movie as a kid?
You know what, Gamage? I did, actually. I don't know if you know this, but I discovered time travel at an early age.
You know what? I put in the shared document to skip that question, but I forgot to put it on my document.
Are you reading off of a different document?
I'm reading off of my own because mine has like the budget and the facts and everything.
Oh, got it.
It's
yeah,
like the same
sense.
thing, but
yeah. I have a side document also.
You're cheating on me with another document?
Fuck yeah, baby.
So the main theme of this movie, what do you think it is? Because I kind of went back and forth about what this theme is.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like this movie is definitely about exploring trauma, especially from a young child's perspective, but it also like does a fair amount of talking about him in subtitles. His name is Intriguing Neighbor. It does a fair bit of discussing Intriguing Neighbor's childhood trauma also, and just like that you carry that stuff with you and eventually have to resolve and face it, which is kind of what the end of the movie sort of is.
Yeah.
I do think this was not necessarily theme, but metaphor, allegory, whatever the fuck you want to call it. I do think this was a really good insight into like what it is like for foster kids to get turfed through the system, because it's like she did not feel safe or comfortable with her biological family, and then she gets turfed through this system where now that her biological family is gone and, you know, abandoned her, was taken, was killed, whatever it happens to be, and now she's experiencing this like guilt that is her fault, and then the concept of feeling like she does not, because of this, deserve to have a family. And I think that's like a pretty common experience for people that get pushed through multiple different family lives, even if it's not like a foster scenario and you're being kind of turfed parent to grandparent or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really good insight. Like there's even a point in the movie that shows like a painting portrait of the family, and like it shows the mother and the father and then the little girl, and the little girl doesn't have a face. Like the painting's unfinished because like they're trying to like get this child in, and it almost feels like they don't care what child it is. Like, and I feel like a lot of foster things are kind of like that, where
it's like there's not really a decision being made. Like you're just being given to a family and hoping that it works out.
Yeah. It's like you don't really feel a part of the family, especially because this is her third family. But like I do love how Aurora, because like carrying around trauma is a big thing of this, and like I feel like there's a lot of like little bits of her kind of fidgeting. There's moments of her like turning on a light on and off and on and off until like she's told to stop. There's a point where she's nervous and she's told to be quiet, and she like starts grabbing flowers and tucking them into her sock. She's a thumb sucker and then a knuckle sucker, I guess, because she was told to stop sucking on her knuckles. I didn't know that was a thing, but why not?
Well, when you're told not to suck your thumbs, you got to move on to something else.
Yeah, like there's a whole plot device about like the thumb sucking repellent, which is a real thing, by the way, where the dust bunny hates it. God, it was so weird. But this does feel like a movie where like the concept was thought before deciding a theme, and the themes just kind of came along with it.
Yeah.
I adore this movie, but like it's not a perfect movie, and I'm okay with that. Like
No, it's definitely not like seamlessly put together in any way.
Yeah, like the people that are saying like 60, 70, like, well, I think 70 is a good score. For me personally, I'd probably put it at like an 80. Like it's definitely a movie I'm gonna want to watch in the future. Like if I'm having a bad time, it'll definitely bring up my spirits. But it's not something that I'm gonna like submit to the Academy for recognition of any sort.
Mm-hmm.
But there's like a lot of little things about this movie that I like. It's really the set design is like just 10 out of 10.
It's
like
so
how
fucking cool.
She has like a safety blanket that she like constantly goes under, and the safety blanket is covered in like different eyes. It's like different patterns of different types of eyes, and it's almost like a, monsters won't come at you if you're watching them kind of mentality there.
So I clocked this, and then the blanket comes up almost never again after this. So I didn't actually go back and double check because I'm sick, so I didn't want to do the homework. But I'm pretty sure in scenes where she feels safe, the blanket is facing, because one side has like trees and animals. The blanket is facing with the trees and animals up, and then when she does not feel safe, it's the eyeballs are facing out. Because like when she goes to sleep on the fire escape, she has it with the tree. And then when like a lot of the times that she's in her room and she thinks the bunny is going off, there's the eyeballs.
There are that could be intentional. It could also just be kind of an editorial mistake, because there like definitely were a couple times where like I noticed something, and then like in the next shot that's like a second later, it was like not there, and we're like, oh, okay, so that's editor missed that, I guess. Like it's not.
No, it entirely could just be a like, I think that this is something that is possibly happening, and it's not at all. But I just thought it was cool that there is two different sides to the blanket.
Yeah, and this is a movie that you really should just watch, just because it's good the first time you watch it, and the second time you can be more analytical of it. But like the first time you watch it, like there's a lot of like guessing whether things are actually part of her imagination or not, because everybody's like, you're crazy. And there's even moments where like things are moving. So there's like this big like hippo ottoman that she's just like riding around because she doesn't want to touch the floor. And like there's definitely a part where like the walls are kind of moving, and like the hippo like blinks, and it's like ear moves. Like there's a lot of little things like that where like you kind of catch it out of the corner of your eye and you're like, oh, what? And so you're wondering if any of it's real. And even like there's a scene where after the parents are gone, she's like trying to like live in the apartment alone with the monster for some reason for a while. And like there's a part where like she like drops her boots on the floor, and then there's like a hole that comes up, and she like throws her blanket on the ground, and like you see the blanket get like slurped up through the hole. So she also drops a grape, and then the rabbit, like the dust bunny monster, eats it and spits it out and destroys a light bulb. And then so she goes to sleep, and the next morning she wakes up and she has the blanket around her. She's tucked in, and the boots are like neatly at the end of the bed, on the bed. So like you're kind of like
clothes folded on the corner of the bed.
So you're like, what is this real or not? And then you see that the light bulb is still broken. So like that did happen. In reality, what's happening here is that the dust bunny was taking care of her while she was sleeping. He came out and he like tucked her in and folded her clothes, and he's a very good monster. But as the audience, you're like kind of like, so was that just a weird dream? Did that not happen? Oh, the light bulb was broken. I still don't know. And that's fun.
I do really love that for a good chunk of this movie, they really, and obviously you're listening to this, there's spoilers. They really press the concept of like, this is in her head and it's a kid's imagination. And then when you're an adult, you're looking at this from the outside and you're seeing the reality of the situation. Like, And then they give you these little hints throughout, like that moment where the light bulb's broken, where you're like, oh, like, is she telling the truth? Like, is this actually real? But because you're an adult watching this, you're still inclined to be more skeptical and be like, well, no, like, it's probably, you know, it's probably this, and it's all a figment of her imagination, until shit starts hitting the fan and you're like, oh, nope, the dust bunny is eating people.
Yeah, especially because Resident 5B, the hitman, like starts to like spend time with her, and he has like all these things where like she's like, look, the monster ate the parents, and he's like in the room and he's analyzing it, and there's like bullet holes and like bullet casings, so he's like, they were clearly murdered. And then the whole thing about like he realizes that her social care worker is an actual FBI agent. Also, I love how she's like, she has a nose piercing, and then she's like, I'm not really a foster care specialist. And she
so
takes
good.
out and it's just like,
I'm not a social worker. Pulls out nose ring. Okay. Got it.
That feels weird and unnecessary, but I like it.
That was highly specific. If I had a nickel for every time this happened, I'd only have one nickel, but it's still weird.
But I'm counting them now. I'm watching.
Yeah, now I'm concerned I'm going to get more.
But yeah, she has all these like imaginations, and then you have like the Resident 5B being like, well, actually it's this, actually it's that. And then the fact that like his whole introduction was her watching him kill a bunch of men in a dragon puppet, only for her to like see the shadow and like her imagination begin to think it was something else. So like you really are like, all right, so is it or not?
Yeah.
And
and it's
Resident
absolutely
5B is
meant
us.
to red herring you.
Very, very.
I love when you go through all of this and you're like convinced that this is okay. Like there's been hits out on her family for whatever reason. And, you know, maybe her original biological family was part of like a fucking crime syndicate or something. Who the fuck knows? And then you get to the part where the FBI agent pulls out her social worker nose ring. And then she's like, yeah, they found the like anti-thumb sucking bottle under the floorboards under her bed. And you're like, oh, fuck. How the fuck would that get there?
Yeah. And I do think that I'm still undecided. I kind of like how there's all these questions about Aurora's childhood that don't get answered at all. Like, she just kind of says that her parents weren't very nice, so she wished on a monster to eat them, and it happened. And like, you don't know why that happened. You don't know what her parents were doing. And then even when Resident 5B was just like, well, maybe her parents were into something, or maybe they saw something and they got a hit, you still don't get that answer. And I kind of like that because I got to kind of work my mind around that, like on what happened. But at the same time, I know that this movie is still kind of lacking in like some motifs and explanation and lore. So like, I feel like that could have built this story better.
I kind of enjoy that there's no backstory, though, because I feel like it really gives you more of that suspension of disbelief, especially when you're trying to figure out, like, what is going on in her life. Because is it like, there's just, you have so many more open doors.
Yeah, no, I totally agree.
Yeah, no, I kind of liked it. If they explained it too much, I feel like they would have needed a really, really good reason for why there's this mythical bunny thing. Because it's, the second you acknowledge that in like a more real way for why it could possibly be related to her parents or like the people that are hunting her down, you're now pigeonholing a lot of your story into this thing.
Yes.
And I think it's better to just let it be whatever your imagination wants to fill in the blanks on. Like, are they related? Are they not related? Who's to say?
Yeah, I do, like I said, I do like that, but I am on the fence of like, I also feel like other parts of this movie were lacking to the point where that might have been able to help it. Because again, this movie's not perfect, but I love it and I don't care. And fuck you, Karen.
I thought the scenes when he is talking to, I did not know Sigourney Weaver's character was named Laverne.
Me neither until I looked it up on Wikipedia. Yeah.
Dude, I don't know if they ever say it. I know I'm bad at clocking character names, but I was like,
They might have said it in the subtitle. Did you watch this movie with subtitles?
Yes, I did.
So one of my favorite things about I'm going to interrupt you now because I remembered what I was going to say.
Uh-huh.
One of my favorite things, ongoing running jokes in this movie is that Mads Mikkelsen is Danish. So his grasp on English isn't always like
so
10 out of 10. Yeah. But like, I don't know if this kind of just became a running joke when they were filming this and they kept it in or not, but like he constantly mispronounces Aurora's name. He usually says like Aurora, and in subtitles it'll even say Aurora, and Aurora is constantly correcting him. It's Aurora, and he's like, "That's what I said," and it's like, "No, he didn't." And it constantly goes back where he's just like Aurora, and it's like Arora, and not the right spelling. And it's one of my favorite gags I've ever seen in a movie, especially that the subtitles were playing along.
Yeah,
because it kind of reminded me how. In South Park, once they revealed that Token's character was Tolkien, like with an L and not Token, you're like, and how they're like, it's always been that way. They actually changed all the subtitles in the previous awesome. Episodes to make it so it's an L. So like, you're kind of gaslit into like, was it always like this?
You're Mandela affecting everybody to be like, what the fuck?
Because now you are Stan, where you're like, did I always just assume that? Like, it's incredible gag work.
I just love, and this is why having hard copies of media is a good thing, because you get to keep these memories alive.
Yeah, but there's even like a moment where like he says Aurora and it's the right spelling, and she corrects him, and he's like, "That's exactly what I said." Yeah. And you, the audience, you know that's exactly what he said
because the subtitles backed him up.
I appreciate gags like that. Now you were saying about Laverne.
Yeah, I liked the scenes because there's very few scenes when you're not in the apartment. And there's two with Laverne where he meets her at a wine bar and then he meets her in this like very garish flower shop. And the wine bar is honestly the most realistic scene, which I think is interesting because it is also one of the only times where you're having like a very realistic conversation between two adults.
Yeah, and my favorite thing about that is how she calls everything a sandwich, and they are not sandwiches.
No, they're not. One sandwich is a massive sandwich, or massive, I don't know what it was. That one actually looked like a sandwich, and then the next thing is like a little tea cake, and she's like, this is a sandwich.
Yeah, but like, I really love the use of like red herring symbolism, because like there's several scenes like in the wine bar where like they're set specifically so that when it's doing a side shot of the character talking, both Laverne and Resident 5B, it looks like they have halos, and this means nothing. It has no bearing on the story. It's not like, oh well, maybe this means no. It means nothing, and I kind of love that. Like, it's like symbolism to where you're kind of like, well, what does this symbolism mean? And I like that it kind of went nowhere. It was kind of like maybe sometimes you look for patterns and they're wrong.
Yeah, I really like that in films because I love when people put so much time and effort into the meaning of things because, you know, your brain processes so many different avenues of information that you're not really aware of until you get a film that does it exceptionally well and that you're locked into each of the details it's presenting to you. But sometimes those details aren't meant to be real and they're meant to be misleading. And I really, really like when filmmakers use that sort of subconscious processing to their advantage and make it misleading. It's just really interesting and fun. Okay, so this could absolutely be out of left field, but I immediately thought of this when they were talking about, so at some point Laverne is talking to intriguing neighbor 5B, and she's like, you're talking about the cheetah, the baboon, and the cheetah killed the mother baboon. What does it do with the baby baboon? But the baby baboon still dies because there's no one to take care of it, and it doesn't work. And Laverne's really trying to like nail in on the thought of like you being like a big scary tiger or a big scary like big cat, and it doesn't work for you to go save this small being. But then later there's a scene where Sophie is wearing like a tiger striped shirt, and it made me think of the tiger that adopted the piglets that were wearing tiger striped shirts.
Yeah.
And I also thought it was funny because at one point he says she doesn't like pork. And I was like, is this like a really weird roundabout call to he's a tiger and she's a pig wearing a tiger's outfit now? And he's like adopted her into his weird little family.
That's a very crazy thought, and there might actually be weight there. I'm not Brian Fuller, so I can't really say anything about it. But it is also worth noting that, like, yeah, she's wearing a tiger thing, but also ABBA's Tiger is playing for the credits, like when the movie's kind of rolling out.
Yeah, no, there's multiple things that I was like, I wonder if this was a thought that was had at all because of the baboon thing, or if this is just my brain made this weird fucking gymnastic leap from one thing to another.
I mean, it makes sense. Like if they're like subverting like patterns that your brain makes, that like some of them might actually have some weight behind them.
Yeah, well, and I just like the concept, whether it's real or not, the idea that they're like presenting to you this version that doesn't work. Just to then be like, but there is a version that works where the big scary cat adopts, the helpless little animal, and it works out and it works well.
Because if he did like the tiger adopting a pig story, that would have been way too ham-fisted. And by the end, you'd be like, oh, see, because she wear the tiger and then the ABBA song. You would have made that connection way too easily. Mm-hmm. But like this way is kind of like, where you kind of bridge that connection, and now it's like, well, it's so obvious now.
Yeah. Another thing that I just really appreciated was at the end when Laverne comes in and she, I don't know what the fuck her motive was for coming back in the apartment, but she's like trying to goad the little girl into coming and like joining her. She has gun shoes.
Now, my theory is that was an old prop from a movie that never got off the ground, that was just in the prop department for like decades, and they finally were just like, let's just use it in this movie. That's my theory.
I loved it.
I loved it too.
This is so random and weird, and not at all like any portion of this movie has been like, they used odd items for weapons because like he stabs a guy in the eye with an electric toothbrush at one point, but like, they're not doing crazy shit like my stiletto heels are guns. And it was fantastic. I was like, this is so silly.
I am 100%, I believe, I believe without a doubt that those were not made for this movie. Those were in the prop department, and they're like, let's just use these. That seems fun.
They were left over from some Austin Powers ass shit in the 90s. And they're like, you know what?
Definitely.
It's time.
I wouldn't be surprised if Sigourney Weaver actually owned those for like a movie that just never
for like
happened.
A different movie,
yeah. They're very Sigourney Weaver. But I do love that scene because she is. They reveal that she is Resident 5B's mother or adoptive mother. We don't actually know what actually happened there, but like she's there trying to like adopt Aurora at the very end, where she's like, "Come with me," and to like kind of continue the cycle. And the monster eats her. Fantastic movie. I don't really have much else to say for it other than sorry I spoiled it for you, but you should have watched it before you clicked on this episode. I'm going to put that in the description too. Watch this movie. It's worth it. Like I said, it's not a 10 out of 10. You won't be like, wow, I'm going to write a dissertation on this movie, but you'll be like, I'm really glad I watched that, and I want more things like this.
Yeah, you will not leave that movie being upset that you spent time on it.
Yeah,
because I got about 15 minutes in and was going, what the fuck am I watching? But in an enjoyable way.
Yeah. And that's always a good thing. All right, Rachel, what have you been listening to?
I have been voraciously ill for most of the time since I last spoke to you. So I have a suggestion, but it's going to be kind of a vanilla suggestion.
Okay.
I'm going to suggest an album, and I don't really have a song specifically that I'm going to suggest. I'll throw out one, but it's not necessarily my favorite. It's just one that's stuck in my head at this moment.
Yeah.
Casey Musgraves, country music artist, put out an album in the beginning of May. And I really liked, she does, you know what, I'll give you two songs. She does two songs in this album that are towards the beginning. One is called Dry Spell, and I just thought it was funny because I don't feel like there is often, and I could just be wrong, but I don't often feel like there's a lot of women who talk about going through dry spells in music. And the way that she does it is pretty funny because she's like, there's no tool in my shed, is one of the lines. But like, it's definitely intended to be funny. So I was kind of giggling the whole time the song was going off. Yeah. And then I feel like a lot of this album is meant to be kind of when you're going through the process of being in a transition phase in life. So you're going through the soul searching and you're not quite settled in anything. And you know, like, it's going to get better, but you're still going through all of the ups and downs of doing this, but in like a bit of a goofy take. Because it's the Dry Spell song where it's like pretty jokey the whole time. And then there's a song called Back on the Wagon where she very obviously at the beginning of the song is talking about this guy who's like stolen money from her and then did a bunch of drugs and like broke up with her. And it's not like super emotional. And then she's like, but then I saw him 2 months later and he had all of his shit together. So we got back together and it's never going to go wrong ever again. And it's like also meant to be kind of funny because like none of them, like these two songs aren't particularly like sad girl country at all. Like they're definitely a little bit goofy. But so I kind of like the take on acknowledging that there's, you know, some ups and downs that you go through. And sometimes they're not like, yeah, they're heartbreaking, but sometimes they're just kind of like, you look back and you're like, that was fucking dumb.
Yeah. We all got them.
Yeah. But I kind of like the tone of the album because it definitely explores some of those themes, but with less of the like, the really deep, heavy emotional aspect tied to all of it.
Plus, we could always use more country on here. I mean, I don't hate country, but I feel like it's a very, it's a very salted genre where it's like if you order country as a dish at a restaurant, it's usually very, very salty. And I feel like maybe it's not using the right kinds of seasonings. I don't know where I'm going with this.
Here's my thing. Hold on. I'm going to throw out a different food analogy because I feel like I get what you're saying and you let me know if it's right.
Yeah.
Sometimes in life you order a burger and it is like the most bomb ass fucking delicious thing you've ever had. And then you go to a diner and you order a burger and almost all the time when you're at a diner, like I'm talking like a shitty diner. Like it's like just okay. Like it is sustenance, but it is not necessarily anything to write home about. And that's a lot of country music right now. It's like, it is music and it is not necessarily anything to write home about. And that is not exclusively true across the board. But I do feel like there's just a lot of like, we're just a shitty fucking burger joint putting out shitty fucking burgers. Here you go.
I don't know, because I still like shitty burgers. Like I don't mind the guilty pleasure of like this is
I mean like bland. Not like bad for you.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I kind of like we both kind of get each other's analogy. We know what we're trying to say. And I think that's
Does anybody else? No, but I understand you and you understand me. And that's all that matters.
Yeah. So Rachel and I were having a conversation the other day about music this year. And I was saying about how for the first time, I have an actual selection of favorites that I'm very confident in to actually like be my top albums, and that it's going to be crazy to watch anything. Yes, I do. Okay. I do think my list will carry. I know that it is May, and I know that we have several months, and I eagerly await them being toppled. Whereas last time we kind of had this conversation, I was kind of like, I've got ones that I really enjoy, but I'm kind of just waiting for something to take its place.
Yeah.
But now I'm like, no, it's these ones, and I dare something to take its place. And then we were talking about how like you have not had the same luck and that you're not in that same space that I am. So we were talking about how I was going to recommend one of those albums for you today. But this is not that. So I saw a post.
You're like, but no, we will continue your shitty music. Good luck, Rachel.
So I saw a post for Hot and Freddie a while ago when the album came out about how they're being slept on. It was in Pop Heads, I think, and how pop fans were like, a lot of pop fans were saying like, I have a whole bunch of artists that are being slept on, and somebody's just like, well, who? And they're like, they listed a whole bunch of them, and I knew all of them except for one, Mickey. Have you heard of Mickey before? Miki?
I actually think I might have heard of them. Hold on, I'm gonna look it up.
Mickey is a French artist, a French pop artist with some catchy bops. It's all in French, so the language flows beautifully. Even if I don't know what they're saying, it could be about awful things. I don't know, but the music's great. So my recommendations...
They could be talking about murdering children. Who's to say? I don't think I've heard of Mickey. I just scrolled through
I think
some
you'll
of their
really
music.
like it. I think you really like it. It's kind of like K-pop in France, but like the French language makes it kind of flow a lot better.
Okay.
But my recommendations are from the album Industry Plant, which came out last year. The first one is a French phrase I'm not going to tempt for everyone's sake, but it translates to "it stings a little though." So you can just Google that and you'll find it. It's got a really good like music video. I also recommend JTM Encore and Mickey Cowboy are close seconds for my favorite.
So you have some country music too.
No.
Gam, it's just from the country of France.
Okay. Oh, yeah, you're right.
I gotta be honest with you. One time when I was teaching in Korea, I was talking about country music and students were like, country? And they held up the flag.
Yeah.
I was like, yes, but no. It's not like patriotic music. It's like from the hills.
It's folk music is how like I see it best described. This is like, you know how like you go to like a Mexican wedding and there's like a lot of mariachi stuff. It's that, but with American music and beer and pickup trucks and cowboy hats for some reason. But I don't think country singers do.
It is
farming.
the K-pop to the United States.
No, that hurts to hear. I can't. I disagree, but I don't have. I disagree, but I don't have a proper fucking rebuttal.
If you come up with a proper rebuttal, please save it for next week because I would love to know what your counter argument is, and I will give you 7 days to figure it out.
So, I do feel guilty about not giving you the album. I stand by Mickey being really good, and I think you'll.
Well, I'm
hyped,
like her. So thank you.
But I do have a compromise.
All right, hit me.
I think our next episode should be a deep dive discussion on this album.
Oh, okay.
I want to save these kinds of episodes for albums that I believe are really special. Like so far, we've just done Ray. And I think this is one of those. I wouldn't do an episode like this unless I really thought you'd feel at least close to the same as I do on an emotional scale. Okay. If I'm wrong and you hate it, you have my permission to decide the next one.
Okay. I mean, I'm good with this either way because I actually think since we listen to so much music throughout the year and then we do our year in review, I do think as we get albums that are like deeply touching to us in some way, I do think it'd be fun to start doing deep dives like what we did with Ray because that was a good time. Even if I don't like it, like I think there's merit in talking about it, you know?
I mean, there's a lot of albums that I love that I'm like, I don't know if I want to, go into this on like a back and forth discussion. Yeah. Like, I feel like I know your music taste somewhat well at this point. So like, there's definitely like other albums where I'm like, I love this. I don't know if Rachel will love it. So, but this one, I'm pretty confident.
Yeah, and I don't mean like every time we get an album that's like, we're like, that's a banger. But I just mean like, there's some that are worth talking about.
Yeah, so this album only came out a few days ago, but I'm very surprised it hasn't blown up yet. Like, by the time we record that episode, I bet it will have blown up and it'll look like we're chasing trends, but I can live with that. This isn't the same as like me going, well, I think Hot and Freddie are going to be huge because A, I'm biased, and B, I recognize that their music isn't for everyone. This one, I think, is far more universal and will be talked about all year. I stand by that. This and Ray, I think will be like the two most talked about albums. So Rachel, have you ever listened to Genesis Owusu?
I'm looking it up. Hold on. Genesis Owusu. I don't think so.
Good. So the album Red Star Woo and the Worldwide Scourge just came out a few days ago.
Wait,
and
I listened to one song by Genesis Owusu.
Stampede?
No, WTD. Sorry, WUTD.
Oh, I think that was an older one.
Yeah, I think it's from 2019.
Crazy. Yeah, they've been making music for a while. But like they haven't like really blown up into like the big scene yet, and I feel like they're about to. So the album is Red Star Woo and the Worldwide Scourge, and that's the album that just came out a couple days ago that like I wanna do a full episode on.
Okay, fuck yeah, let's do it.
So yes.
Sold to the highest bidder.
I'm the highest bidder.
Yeah. Whatever helps you sleep at night. I have syphilis. I do have syphilis. And I don't have to spin a wheel, so that's exciting. Thank you guys for listening. If you liked what you heard or you have an album you want us to deep dive, because that would be cool, like and subscribe on whatever your most favorite is podcasting places. If you want us to talk about a thing, you can email us at whtpah@gmail.com. That's what at gmail.com. Or you can follow us on Instagram at We Have That Podcast at Home, all one long glorious word. Or follow us on Blue Sky at WHTPAH on Blue Sky. That's what and next week, you heard it, we're going to be tackling an album. So it's pop culture round 2, but music this time. And every time I say round 2, I want to say Electric Boogaloo. So go fuck yourself, Gamage, because you are why this exists in my brain.
Electric Boogaloo? I did not introduce that to you because I see that all the time and I still don't know what it's from. I just know that people do it and I don't repeat it.
I don't know what it's from, but we have said it on this podcast.
I think I might have said it out of irony.
Because we have said it on this podcast, it is now locked into my brain. Every time I say the number 2, I'm like, Electric Boogaloo in the back of my head. And it's just there.
I like how that's what you hold on to, but there's like many conversations where like we've talked about the same thing 4 times. And like,
no,
that's
this is out the door. No, my brain just consists of like vocal stems that for whatever reason have scratched my brain just right. And then everything else is gone. I've been a singular brain cell that has syphilis, Rachel.
And I have been off-brand Gamage. And this has been We Have That Podcast at Home.
There you go.